The University of California system will no longer require applicants to submit ACT or SAT scores. School officials say they instead plan to create their own test that, quote, better aligns with the content the university expects students to have mastered for college readiness. And if a new test does not meet that standard by 2024, testing requirements will be eliminated indefinitely for at least all in-state students. Akil Bello is the Senior Director of Advocacy and Advancement for Fair Test, the National Center for Fair and Open Testing. Akil, thank you for being with us. Although the University of California system is no longer requiring these test scores, students do have the option to submit them for the upcoming academic year. So how might this actually impact students, whether they choose to opt out or opt in?
Well, it gives students more options. It allows students to choose which academic elements, which elements of their profile they want to submit to the school in order to be considered. So it should overall be a positive.
And Akil, standardized tests have long been criticized for putting some students at a disadvantage, particularly students of color and those from low-income communities or first-generation college students. Does eliminating this testing requirement for colleges eradicate some of those concerns?
Absolutely. It is a big move for equity and access. Students don't have equal access to take the SAT or the ACT multiple times. A lot of that is driven by family income, neighborhood you go to school in. So a lot of those concerns are eliminated in making the test optional, and later on when they make it blind, that'll even go further.
Now, what do opponents have to say about eliminating standardized tests?
They don't like it. There are a set of people who have bought into the belief that a 3-hour test is somehow indicative of 12 years of schooling and the be-all, end-all of college admissions. So generally those who like tests don't appreciate schools making testing optional.
And Akil, I know that some critics say that standardized tests have problems, but they are at least standard, whereas schools might vary when you look at grades or different types of activities on a school-by-school basis. So is there a benefit to having some standard level, something that puts all students on something of an equal footing for evaluation?
I mean, as an argument, that seems to make sense. In practice, it doesn't exist. The tests aren't as standardized as you would want to believe. You could have a student who got the same number of questions right as another student, but have a 90-point difference in SAT score. That's significant. That amounts to thousands of dollars in college scholarships. That amounts to access to universities. So the tests aren't standardized in the way that the public believes. They're not all equal all the time for every student.
So, Akil, the California system says that they want to come up with something that is a new standardized test that can work for them and create a more even footing for all students. But given the inherent problems that you see in standardized tests, tutors and the advantages that money can buy when it comes to test prep, are you optimistic that they'll be able to come up with something, or do you think that this is really going to set a precedent for the elimination of standardized tests?
Well, I'm not optimistic they'll be able to come up with their own test, but it's not setting a precedent. California is the largest state system to make test optional, but test optional has existed since 1968. There are 1,200 schools that are currently test optional in the United States. So it's not a precedent, it's joining a trend, and frankly, it's joining it a little bit late. University of California has for years gone back and forth as to which test they'll require. In the 90s, if you had a certain GPA, they did not require testing from you. So this is not a new policy, this is a new implementation of something that's been debated almost since standardized testing started.
Well, Akil Bello, we'll continue to watch this. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.